Okay, the next step is process the result. What is processing the result mean? Processing means we need the result of the execute query. What is the result of the execute query? Rows affected is the result of the execute query. We have already saved it, and then based on the value of the rows affected, we will decide what value to be printed to the user. So we will write if rows affected is greater than 0, it means insert query executed successfully. Okay, if insert query executed successfully, then only we will have more than 0 number of rows affected. Okay, now I'm saying more than 0. Is there a possibility it can affect multiple rows? Yes, because we know that in SQL we can write a insert query which receives two records or two record data at a time. If we are running this type of insert query in our JDBC code, then there is a possibility that it will affect two records at a time. Two rows will be affected. Okay, so there is a possibility for insert query to affect multiple rows. Okay, and so what we are trying to say here is if rows affected is greater than 0, that means it is not 0. That means insert query is successfully executed. If insert query is successfully executed, then we will print the same message to our console. Okay, so we will say print statement, and we will say we will print the message that database is printing. Database is printing what? One row affected, right? So I'll say here as rows affected concatenated with row affected. Okay, just like this, one row affected. Okay, so I'm showing whatever is the value of rows affected concatenated with row affected message, so that it looks like that many number of rows are affected. Okay, else, that means if rows affected value is 0, that means insert query failed, right? Insert query failed. If insert query failed, then we want to print a message saying insert query failed, check the query and try again. Okay, now everything is fine. Now let us check our program whether it is working or not. Okay, so let us not insert any data which is already available. Like in this case, let me run select star to check what data is already available. Okay, Vikas, Vijay, Ramu, Rani, Vikas, Vikram, Venu, once again Vikas, Pranay. Okay, now let me give a different value. Let us say I want to give Sanjana, okay, as the name. Then first of all, let us run the program from UserTest, and I will show you this. Let me clear all the console so that it starts fresh. Okay, and I'm running from UserTest. Okay, it is asking me to enter a value, choose a menu item. I'm choosing one, just like the previous one. Okay, and I'm choosing Sanjana as the name. Okay, Sanjana is the username. Okay, and then I'm providing email. Again, I'm following the same format, sanjana@gmail.com. Okay, and then I'm giving Sanjana at 123. Okay, this is the password I'm choosing. As soon as I press enter, what will happen? It will save the data in password and send name, email, password data into insert user method. It will go to insert user method of user.davo. Here it will create the dynamic query, print the dynamic query, and then it will come here, establish the connection to the database with these two steps, and then create the statement object, and then it will pass the dynamic query that it has created into execute update method, and then it will execute the update method in the database, and then get the rows affected value, check the rows affected value, and then it will finally print the message. So let me take this and explain the same thing from Paint. So suppose that here I'm having that code. Okay, it is still not clearly visible. Let me show the code from here. So what is it? This part will be executed after this. Okay, so what is happening? It will create the dynamic query, and that dynamic query will have Sanjana as the data. It will establish the connection. It will create the statement object just like this, and then it will run the query in the database. It will take the number. That number will be returned by execute update method. It will be saved in the rows affected variable. That rows affected, we are checking like this. If the rows affected value is greater than 0, in this case it should be greater than 0 because we are entering the correct data, a new data. Okay, and then it will print what? That value is definitely greater than 0, so it should print one row affected as the message. Okay, that should be done, and that message we are getting the output as where we are getting that output in our console. Okay, that is the expected behavior. This is the that is the expected behavior. Let us go and check it, and I am pressing enter. Ignore the warning. See, it is telling one row affected. Cool. Now let us go to database and check whether that is happening or not. I am running select star once again. Currently we don't have Sanjana as the data. I am going to check whether the Sanjana is added in the data or not. See, this is our data. Cool. So that is how we are running our insert query in our JDBC code. Let me show the final program. This is our final program. Let me remove all the comment lines so that you see how small this program actually is. Okay, let me remove this last statement as well, and this is your insert user method. This is our final program. Okay, so this is doing this job. Okay, and what I suggest you guys is, this was a very long video. Go through the video, try to understand, and try this with a different table. Take any table of your choice, any column names and etc. Follow the steps that I mentioned. Try it out yourself. You will be able to make it work. Good one. Let's meet again in another video where we will try another CRUD operation.